My guess is that most of you have already been in a plane at one point in your life. Planes bring this image of big corridors where people are packed together like sardines. Now, if I mention private aviation, you might be picturing those big private jets reserved to 500 Fortune's executives or people drinking champagne. And guess what? Today you're right. There's two options. Be treated like cattle or pay 5,000 euros. What if there was another solution? A solution that could combine convenience with pleasure. Being a pilot myself for over 10 years, I decided to build this solution with my two co-founders, Bertrand and Lars. Wingly makes private aviation accessible to everybody by connecting private pilots with passengers so they can share the cost of a flight. Beyond the travel, Wingly offers an amazing experience. It's bringing to the aviation industry a bit what Airbnb brought to the hotel one. On Wingly, you can book a flight in only a few clicks. Be it a sightseeing flight, be it an excursion, a day trip, or a travel. In 2 words, you just have to fly fancy. The platform takes care of everything for you. Online payment, pricing algorithm, smart matching, flight suggestion, pilot vetting, and insurance. And you just have to sit back and enjoy your flight. But let me show you how it works concretely. And let's move to the demo. Today, when you go on the website, you can see all the flights that are posted beforehand by the pilots. You can easily browse through them, get more information about the price, the time. Then when you find the flight you actually want to book, it's an easy 2-step process. But if the flight you're looking for is not yet posted, well, there was no solution. And that's why we decided to take Wingly to the next level. Today, we're super happy to be introducing live on this stage the Wingly Flight Request. It's the first platform to actually allow you to request a flight to a private pilot easily. To do so, you just have to click on the Request a Flight button. From there, you'll be asked to decide what type of flight you want to do. So let's say you want to do a day trip. We can go, for example, from Paris to the beautiful island of Île-d'Yeu, which is south of Britain and really hard to reach by common way of transportation. You decide the number of seats that you actually want to book, the date that you plan on doing this flight. Let's say you want to do an overnight trip and that you're flexible in the day during the summer. And then you just add a small description for the pilot. From there, you directly have an estimation of the flight time and also of the price of the flight. It matches your need, just pause the request, and it's smartly sent to pilots in your region. But let's go back to the presentation. Today, Wingly is positioned at the right place and right time to actually build a marketplace within the aviation space. And this is thanks to regulatory and insurance advances that bring with them a lot of opportunity. On the legal side, a 2016 regulatory change made it clear for private pilots that they're allowed to share the cost of a flight and also advertise it online beforehand. Wingly also drove forward insurance innovation within the aviation space. We developed a tailor-made insurance product that allows us to offer all our customers an extra 1 million euro coverage on all the flights you do. This is way more than what you normally get in those types of flights. In terms of markets, what we're looking at is the private aviation market. It's a market that's worth more than 35 billion euro. And there is plenty to do to actually unlock and recapture value within it. Private planes stay on the ground more than 70% of the time. And millions of seats fly unfilled above our head every year. The opportunity is huge. And we decided to tackle this opportunity with the private pilots flying in Europe. They are more than 300,000, flying around 4 million hours per year, in average with 2 to 2.5 empty seats. It means that there's more than 10 million unfilled seats flying above our head each year. And this doesn't take into account the Wingly impact. As we allow pilots to fly up to 3 times cheaper, it means that our actual market is more 30 million empty seats above our head on field annually. So, and it's a clear win-to-win for our pilots, our passenger, and also the environment. But let's take back the example of a pilot flying to Lille. This would cost him 400 euro, and thanks to Wingly, it's actually now only 100 euro per person. Wingly then takes a commission on this transaction of 15% plus 4 euro. So what have we achieved in the past 12 months? Well, we managed to grow our community from 30,000 members to more than 150,000 members. Our flight offering grew from 30,000 flights online to more than 250,000 flights online. And with a year-to-year growth of 300%, we recently raised 2.5 million euro to grow even faster and reach profitability by the end of Q3 2019 in Europe. So, if you want to experience the extraordinary joy of flight, if you want to discover your country from another point of view, just go to wingly.io, book your flight today, and fly fancy with Wingly.
Okay, judges, who's going to start us off?
Hi. You mentioned that there are 10 million flights annually, 10 million seats annually that go empty. Of those seats, how many, to your estimation, are empty seats by amateur or by hobbyist pilots that are just flying themselves versus corporate airlines and VIPs and flights that are probably less relevant for your business model?
So this market estimation is really only about the private pilot, the hobbyist pilot that are flying those light planes. So there's 300,000, and the 4 million hours actually include only those private pilots flying light planes. So those 10 million empty seats are the ones that we can actually address today. And
Wonderful.
as I said, as the pilot can fly up to 3 times more on the same budget thanks to Wingly, it actually takes this number of seats to potentially 30 million just with the existing market.
Can I be honest with you? I think your business is terrifying. I don't know if I would get on one of those planes. I really want to know, how do you do the pilot vetting? Just walk me through the whole thing.
Yeah, so there's really multiple steps that are really important to ensure trust on the platform. The first one is what the platform does. So the pilot vetting that I mentioned, here it's about checking the pilot's licenses, medical certificates, checking his experience, and we limit the experience that pilot must have to actually post a flight on the platform.
What is that experience?
And we give you the keys, actually, to know what's a good experience, what's a pilot that's really experienced or not. Everything is given on the platform for you to understand it. The second thing that we do is be really transparent. So like I said, everything is visible publicly online. And then there's also all the reviews that pilots can get from previous flight. This is a great way for you to have an idea of the pilot, how he ensures trust. And it's a great way for us also to see some pilot that might not be fitting to our etiquette and our behavior on the platform. The last point that's really important is the plane to which we limit it. So light planes go really from super light ones to the 4-seaters that are more on Wingly, and we really stick only to the certified planes, which is the top part of the light aviation planes.
Okay.
Can I ask you, you're building obviously a two-sided marketplace, which is obviously very hard, but wonderful when you get it working. I'm trying to understand what the sort of conversion rate is from search to customer booking, because whenever I've seen related business models, I agree they're not the same, the sort of private flies and those sort of ones, there's never anything that it just never matches demand. So help me understand how you match demand. And I understand, part of that is you've given us a clue by launching Request a Flight. You've given us a clue that you saw a bit of a problem.
Yeah. So we started with the pilots posting the flights, and after the passengers seeing the possible flights and matching them. But as you know, it's the problem of the egg and the chicken. Who came first? Should we start with the offer or the demand? So we worked a lot on the offer in the 12 first months to reach those 250,000 flights online and actually get a wide offer for the passenger. Already this allows us to get a matching, so from all visitors on the website to conversion, so actually making a booking of 0.5% of the visitors. Today, we decided to go even further than this because we knew that some pilots actually want to fly, but they're not going to post all of the destinations that exist in Europe. And so actually giving them some more ideas of what passengers were exactly looking for was the best way for the pilots to fly even more and for our conversion to get optimized.
So that's great. So 0.5% is from unique search to booking, is that right?
It's from somebody going on wingly.io, so going on the website, to actually booking a flight.
Okay,
so paying for a flight.
So unique visitor. So actually, I mean, that's a lot better than it might sound. That's pretty good.
We've got 150,000 registered. How many of them are actually active, would you?
So 150,000 is the total community. It includes 10,000 pilots. On the pilots, we have around 1,000, so 10% that are really active, having flights online currently today as we speak. And on the passenger side, we managed to have 10,000 of them that actually did a booking. And out of those 10,000, we have around a 20% recurrence rate of people going for a second flight, going for another experience.
That's pretty good.
And do you, what tools do you offer pilots? You mentioned obviously that you just added the ability to say, you know, hey, I'd like to go to these places, and then the pilots can filter it. Do you have the ability for a pilot to set a radius, for instance, where they'll say, hey, I don't mind flying wherever, I just need to get my miles in, whether it's for certification or just because they like to fly? Do you have the ability to set a radius, like I'll fly anywhere within these boundaries?
So that's actually the purpose of flight request. What we created first was actually flexible flights, allowing the pilots to say, okay, I can go from Paris to your island that I was mentioning every weekend or every Thursday for an unlimited period of time. So this was actually a way to give some availabilities without pinpointing a specific date. With the flight request, we inversed the way it worked, saying that the pilots know their availabilities, they know where they could potentially go, and therefore when there's a request, we know exactly what type of pilot could answer what type of request. And that's what I'm talking about when I say smart matching, is that we can easily post the right request to the right pilot to know that this pilot is the one that will accept it.
And then do you have the ability for people who fly regularly, let's say those 1,000 recurring people right now, to say, I really like this pilot, and then continue to be matched with that pilot?
Yeah, so the feature is actually really recent, like we just launched it this morning. So this is not a functionality that exists, but that will be possible with time. Normally, once you flew with a pilot, we make it really easy for you to reconnect with him and actually book a new flight with the pilot. One of the problems that might come to mind is bypassing once you flew with a pilot, or people actually going to bother using the platform again, or they're just going to go around. And that was a challenge that we really overcome in the first years, because we made it clear for the pilot that they had no reason to actually bypass the platform. For the pilots, going through the platform is assuring that they will easily get the money from the matching, that they get an extra insurance on their flight, that they can schedule really easily everything and reschedule a flight if it has to from the interface. So everything makes it more easy and more convenient for the pilot to actually remain on the platform and not try to go around.
So the insurance is the hook that keeps them there.
So
the insurance is the hook to keep them online.
And the insurance is the real hook,
right,
to reassure them. And we even have pilots today using the platform with friends and using the platform because they say, okay, we have the extra insurance, it's better, it's easy to provide, the commission is not that high compared to other platforms of the sector. And so they say, I'd rather post it online and get all this convenience rather than just doing it off the hook and having trouble sharing the money, etc.
And just one last question. You know, the majority of airline and other private pilots are male. There's much less female pilots, just in general, as a statistic. And so I'm curious, how many female pilots do you have? How many women do you have flying on the platform? And in order to perhaps match women if they felt more comfortable flying alone in a seat with a woman pilot?
I actually don't have the exact number for the thing. I would say it's around 10% of our active pilots that are women. But we partnered up with some association, so Women Flyer Association, to actually get more people, more women into aviation because there's no reason why they shouldn't fly, and it should be only guys flying.
Thanks.
I think you should talk to Skyscanner and have like a rock star mode. Just click private plane. You guys, your feed appears there.
Oh, I didn't understand the question, sorry.
You guys should talk to someone like Skyscanner for a rock star mode. Like private plane option.
Yeah, so we actually talked with all those planners where you can easily find flights. The reason why we didn't go there at first was because we were selling more an experience at first. So what we want to put forward is people looking for something more than just traveling from point A to point B. And in terms of image, we did not want to be compared just to a provider of service where people would be clicking and waiting to have a pilot to whom they're not going to discuss. What we really want also is to match people together and make them spend the right time and a good time both together. And this is part of the DNA of the company, and for now it's something that we value a lot.
So I don't know if you have any competitors in Europe, but in California, I know there are a few plane sharing businesses as well as plane rental businesses for the hobbyist pilots. So I'm wondering if you're aware of those businesses and if you're looking at them as potential emerging competition, because I could see them easily moving into your business if they see you succeeding.
So the plane renters is actually our partners, because they're the ones that provide the plane to our pilots, sharing the cost afterward. So the way we work today, we're only in Europe, but we're closely looking to the US market. But on the European market, we partnered up with all those associations, all those plane renters, so that we can easily integrate Wingly within their reservation system. This makes it more convenient for the pilot to only book the plane and post directly the flight on Wingly without having tons of platforms that they have to go to. So we really see them as partners today. The other companies that you might be talking in California that are doing taxi aviation is kind of a complementary offer to the one we have. Because they're a bit more high-end with higher prices. So our product is more a go-to-market. People, the reason we're doing it is for people to actually break this cliché that private aviation is reserved to an elite. What we want to show is that with more liquidity, more people actually using private aviation, you can make it a common way of transportation. And what we're creating today is a huge community to have liquidity and optimize all the operations that happen within private aviation. So it's a complementary thing, and I'm sure that our business will also help their business to grow even further.
All right, give it up for Wingly.
Thank you for the question.